Welcome to Direct Mobiles TV, and this is going to be a photo and video comparison of 3 of the world's most popular flagship smartphones. Each one of these phones is an exceptional performer in its own right, with each of the manufacturers using their most advanced technology in their cameras. We already know that they all take beautiful pictures, but I have to say I was quite surprised by the differences when we put them side by side. The 3 phones in question, of course, are the Huawei P30 Pro, the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, and the Apple iPhone XS. Multiple sensors across all the devices, 2 lenses for the iPhone, 3 for the Samsung, and a total of 4 for the Huawei. The iPhone XS has 2 12-megapixel sensors. One is a wide angle and one is a telephoto lens. As per the other 2 phones, although both the Huawei and the Samsung benefit from having an ultra-wide angle camera, 16mm full frame equivalent for the Huawei, compared to a 15mm lens with the Samsung. As well as the 3 conventional sensors on the P30 Pro, it also has a 3D time-of-flight sensor which is placed just beneath the flash. This sensor is there to allow the P30 Pro to understand its surroundings better, giving it the ability to gauge distances from objects with great accuracy. And as a result, the P30 Pro is able to separate its subject from the background almost perfectly every time, and you'll also get bokeh effects for video. The P30 Pro is also equipped with a 40-megapixel Super Spectrum RYB sensor. This new camera sensor technology gives the P30 Pro amazing low light capabilities, with a high ISO performance to match. This phone can see in the dark better than we can, and it is able to push its ISO right up to 402,600. This is compared to an ISO of around about 3200 on most other smartphones. On paper, it should be a bit of a mismatch. The P30 Pro is seriously equipped, twice as many sensors as the iPhone. But looks can be deceiving, and it's not all about the hardware with smartphone photography. It also is very much about the software, and that is where the Apple hits the sweet spot. When you look at the photos on their own, they absolutely look great, and I could not imagine anybody not being pleased with the results that they get from any one of them. But if you put them side by side, you start to see where each one has its strengths and its weaknesses. The first thing that struck me was the beautiful color reproduction that we see from the iPhone. Remember, this is the oldest phone of the 3 and is down on hardware compared to the other 2. But in these bright conditions, the iPhone seems to keep the colors all looking natural. I would say that this is followed up by the Samsung in this case. I feel the Huawei is lacking slightly behind in this area. It tries so hard to process almost everything you take, and sometimes it can oversaturate and oversharpen. Although I have to say, this is not all of the time. When it gets it right, it gets it so right. And if you're the type of person who doesn't want to have to retouch or enhance your photos, then you will love the P30 Pro, as it pretty much does all of that for you. Here, the Galaxy S10 Plus has exposed this picture quite different to the other 2, going through what seems to be a faster shutter speed, which in my opinion has resulted in a nicer image, although all 3 have delivered a typically beautiful shot. A touch more saturation with the S10 Plus when compared to the P30 Pro and the iPhone. But I would say the iPhone has the edge on sharpness. Again here, more saturation with the Galaxy S10 Plus. All 3 of these phones will be using scene recognition and will know that they're photographing a flower. They then make their necessary adjustments. But this for me is an example of the superior color reproduction that you get from the iPhone, as it has produced more natural colors than the other 2. It also has, in my opinion, the smoothest bokeh. This shot was not taken using their portrait mode, so the bokeh is natural. This shot was taken using the 2x telephoto lens on the iPhone and on the S10 Plus. The Huawei has a 5x optical zoom, so I've matched the focal length here. If we switch to the 5x and then the 10x zoom, we can see just how useful that zoom range really is. And even at this magnification, there is very little loss in quality. Being equipped with that time-of-flight sensor, I expect the P30 Pro to perhaps make up a bit of ground on the other 2 when it comes to the depth of field shots. And it doesn't disappoint. Having a time-of-flight sensor in the right conditions can produce spectacular portrait shots. But that isn't taking anything away from the other 2. They all have extremely good software to calculate those shots. And even with the front camera, they all perform well and have various different shooting modes. Although I have to say, the stage lighting effect on the iPhone is for me the most convincing and actually is quite useful. On the other 2, those modes feel more like a gimmick, but with the iPhone, you could actually use these shots. When it comes to video, the P30 Pro is kind of lagging behind the other 2 a little bit. It can only shoot 4K video at 30 frames per second, compared to 60 frames per second from the others. All three do have video stabilization at that resolution. The P30 Pro does have its advantages. Its array of lenses means you have good versatility. It also has the unique ability to record at 2 different focal lengths simultaneously, so you can get very close with its periscope zoom while still capturing a wider view of the action. But despite these special abilities, video for the P30 Pro in low light could be considered its Achilles heel. The stabilization seems to suffer when the lights get low, and we get a distinct gelling effect of the image. But it's a shame because you can see how much more sensitive to light the P30 Pro really is. And actually, if you keep the camera still, you will get good results. To conclude in what really is a very close fought battle, we think that the P30 Pro is the most versatile with its powerful zoom range and its time of flight sensor. It delivers Instagram ready pictures with minimal effort. The iPhone, on the other hand, is made for people who could live without the fuss. It's a strong all-round performer with the most accurate color reproduction and delivers a very straightforward user experience. But with all things considered, we think that the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus is the best all-round performer. The pictures are just as good as what the other two can produce. Although it lacks the versatility and zoom range of the P30 Pro, its consistent color reproduction and excellent low light performance give it the edge. But if you love your photography and you want to have that versatility, then you really can't go wrong with the P30 Pro. But again, we have to stress, it's a very close fought battle, and whichever one of these phones you choose, you will not be disappointed. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit the like button and subscribe for more. We have over 24 years of award-winning customer service. Find your next phone at Direct Mobiles.